luck. Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining our webinar. Do I buy, do I sell, or do I wait? I have the pleasure to be in this webinar with the top of the top of the top of the industry. And I'm just gonna kind of introduce everybody. So we have Ronnie from Freedom Mortgage, the home team of Freedom Mortgage, a lifelong New York resident, transplanted to Miami. He's a lending manager in the Miami-Dade for Freedom Mortgage. Ronnie has been a mortgage industry veteran for the past 20 years, helping people finance their homes. He is also a successful manager of mortgage talent, helping others in the business reach new heights.
Thank you, Paulina, for the wonderful introduction.
You're very welcome, and thank you for joining us. I have our wonderful Arelis Catena, who actually works for Century 21 Global Connections Realty. She's a successful South Florida realtor. She's closed over 100 million in sales throughout her 10 years in real estate. She specializes in all aspects of the industry, including residential, commercial, investment, and more. Highly decorated agent, receiving the 7-star award by the Broker Agent Advisor for 3 consecutive years, 2017, 2018, and 2019.
Thank you, Paulina.
You're very welcome. We have Kevin from Max Home Inspection. He's a value leader and marketing manager at Max Home Inspection. He's responsible in opening new markets and training a team of marketing directors throughout South Florida. Kevin also provides support to real estate agents and their clients, and Max Home Inspection offers industry-leading warranties and services. Welcome, Matt. Welcome, Kevin.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. We have Gio also from Supreme Title. He's premier real estate attorney with Supreme Title and Escrow, over 10 years of experience in the real estate transaction and bankruptcy filing. Award-winning attorney providing exceptional customer service in South Florida and dedicated to the resolution of any real estate or personal bankruptcy legal matter. Welcome, Gio.
Welcome. 23 years, not 10 years.
Sorry. That's a bio that somebody sent me, 23 years.
The bio was written 13 years ago.
Definitely don't want to cut anybody off the, everything that we've done, especially in the real estate industry. And then of course here, this is myself. My name is Paulina Hurtado. I am the CEO and broker of Century 21. I've been in the real estate industry for the past 15 years. I opened the Global Connections Realty in 2010 in the midst of the market showdown. And I currently served on the board of realtors of the Broward Palm Beaches and St. Lucie board. I was also on the board for NAREP for Lauderdale chapter last year. And I was also an event relationship manager for Latinas Power. So that's enough about me. Let's get to what we have decided, what we're here for, which is what is the process. And should you be buying right now? Should you be selling right now? Or should you be waiting right now? So the most important thing is the way that we're going to be handling this webinar is we're actually going to be going down the road the way the transaction will be handled. So with that said, we're going to first hear from Ronnie. Ronnie, can you tell us how is the lending market and how are interest rates right now?
Yeah, thanks, Paulina. So, I'm glad that you're starting with me because the first step of any mortgage or real estate transaction should be, getting approved for a mortgage. So I'm glad that you're letting me bat lead off here. What is going on with the mortgage market is a very tricky question to answer right now because depending on what day it is, depending on what type of borrower it is, depending on so many different variables, which the mortgage is such a complex financial instrument to begin with, but then you throw in everything else that's happening and it becomes an even more complex answer. So right now, if you're in the middle of the road, if you're a client that's looking to buy a house and you're in the middle of the road, meaning that you're still employed, that your credit is, above average, average or above average to excellent, And if you have assets in the bank, at least a 3 to 5% down payment, it's still very easy to get a mortgage. But because, take Miami-Dade, for example. I live in Miami Beach. Miami Beach has 80% unemployment right now. Miami-Dade County has about 50% unemployment. We're at, I think, 30 million people unemployed right now in the United States of America. Employment, or your job, your income is an excellent predictor of an applicant's ability to repay their mortgage. More so than credit, believe it or not, because if somebody has a job, they're going to be able to pay their mortgage. You can have great credit, but if you can't show your income or can't show your capacity to repay, you're not going to qualify for a mortgage. So remember, that's middle of the road. It's still fairly easy to get a mortgage. It's in the off-sheet lending, the jumbo lending, the difficult to do deals that were still easy to get done about a month and a half ago. Those are the deals where we've seen a drop off in the mortgage process right now.
Awesome. That's great information. Now, I have another question. Are you seeing a lot of refinancing based on, what has been going on in the last, I know about 3 weeks ago, we had a really Skype up on refinancing. And what is the difference between refinancing and forbearance?
Okay, good question, and very relevant to today's, environment. Refinancing, I've been able to get, between me and my team, we've been able to get, almost 40 clients to get their refinances in before rates started to go haywire. Why did rates go haywire? Not because, the lending market is going haywire. It's just that normally rates follow the 10-year bond. So the lower that the 10-year bond goes, then the lower mortgage rates go. But what's happened is we have a liquidity issue. There's not a lot of people that want to buy mortgages, investors like, on Wall Street. And even government investors, the buyers just aren't there. So that's really caused rates to raise artificially to prevent people from being able to apply to kind of control the flow of mortgages, because banks and lenders don't want to get stuck with a lot of mortgages on their books. The mortgages that they are taking on right now are very clean transactions. So again, that's why the edge transactions have kind of disappeared. We've heard a lot about this forbearance in the news, and forbearance sounds like a great idea. However, I give a couple of pieces of advice to anybody that's thinking about doing forbearance. Number one, if you can continue to make your mortgage payments, I suggest you continue to make your mortgage payments. Forbearance, a lot of times, it either requires you to make a full payment once the forbearance period is over, or it gets tacked on to the end of the loan, which then has very negative implications on your credit report, which people don't even realize. And you're not going to realize until you need to use your credit to either buy another house, or to apply for a student loan for your kids, or to do something. It becomes a black stain on your credit report. And unfortunately, the people in our government that make these decisions to come up with these programs, they don't understand the complexity of the mortgage process and mortgage underwriting guidelines. And, even if you make all of your payments once your forbearance period is over, it can still have a negative impact on your credit for up to, 7 years because you went into forbearance, because technically it's considered a form of foreclosure, from a credit scoring, standpoint. So my advice is, if you can avoid forbearance, avoid forbearance. If you do have to go into forbearance, make sure that your forbearance agreement has a very well spelled out repayment period and how long the forbearance will actually stay on your credit report.
And I think that right now, with the interest rates being so low, if somebody can refinance, obviously if somebody lost their job, then that wouldn't be a possibility. But if somebody is still, considered an essential employee, and they could refinance as opposed to do a forbearance to lower their payments and to help them through this hoop, I think it would be a better option for them as well.
Sure. The host of people that we've been able to help refinance out of our office here in Coral Gables, we're going to close their loans in May, but their first payments aren't going to be due until the end of June, or somewhere, so depending on when they close in May. We'll get some input on this from our title partner here. But, some of their payments might not be due until July. So that will actually give them, a 30, 60-day window of not having to make payments.
Okay.
By doing the refinance.
Perfect. If anybody that's watching us, whether it's through Facebook or you guys are attending the webinar, if you have any questions, there is a question and answer box that you could type them in. that we do have a question who says, who do you consider a good candidate for refinance?
Anybody that calls me. So, listen, I think anybody's a good candidate for refinance that, has an interest rate that is above whatever today's rates are. Due to compliance reasons, I can't really speak to specific rates and APRs right now. But if your interest rate is above what advertised rates are right now, you're a good candidate. And as long as you, are still employed, or if you own your own business, if you're in what's considered an essential business, that you're still open, your doors are still open, you're still operating. I have a good friend of mine, I'm doing his refinance, and I did his purchase loan 2 years ago, and I refinanced him into a 20-year program, cut off 8 years, and I'm still saving him $150 a month. It makes sense,
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Is interest rates conventional 30-year fixed? What are the rates, today's rate? I know that varies right now, and I know that by 5 o'clock we might change. So
to answer that question, I would say that you're in the ballpark, and I have to be very careful. You're in that rate's in the ballpark. Of course, rates are like snowflakes. Okay, down here in Florida, you don't know as much about snow as we know people. But every single scenario is different. So it depends on how much you owe, what the property is worth, what type of property it is, what your credit score is like, where the property is located, what state it's located in, because different states have different rates. So rates are around in that scenario. Somebody else asked a question about commercial.
Yeah, we have a couple of questions here.
Yeah.
Are you doing commercial loans for rental properties?
Okay, our company, Freedom Mortgage, doesn't do commercial loans. We have several partners outside of the company that do them. However, there's been a huge liquidity issue in commercial properties because, as during this time, a lot of businesses are shut down and they're not paying their rent. Obviously, they can't pay their rent. Even if they had money saved, I think from a business standpoint, they're legally protected, and so they're not paying their rent. And even somebody asked about investment properties. Investment properties, yeah, we're still refinancing investment properties. However, all banks have added on overlays to say that they want the owner of the property, the person that's on the mortgage, they want them to make sure that they have a certain amount of liquidity on top of what the normal reserve requirements are to ensure that they'll continue to be able to make the mortgage payments if their tenants cannot pay their rent.
Right. And then we have another participant, Gina. She's asking, she was under the impression that the forbearance program did not affect the credit. Can you explain again why this affects your credit, and why are lenders allowing them to suspend payments for a couple of months if it's going to affect the credit?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a case-by-case scenario. From what I have seen and what I've read and what I've heard, it is going to affect your credit because you are going to go into forbearance. Now, I don't know, the government could change the rules tomorrow and say that they're suspending all credit reporting during this period of time, and that credit histories have to be, from March, 2020 to June 2020, credit histories have to be either ignored or erased. They might come at a later date and say that, but as of right now, we're seeing this happen all the time, that, that people are going into forbearance and then they're going to buy a car, or they're whatever, and it's showing up on their credit report already because they went into forbearance last month. So.
Okay. And I'm sure that the answer is going to be yes to this, but would you recommend somebody refinancing an investment property?
Yeah, like I said, every lender, just to backtrack, all lenders kind of follow the standard, what's called QM underwriting guidelines. And these standards are set forth by, Dodd-Frank and CFPB. And we've been following them since the recession 12 years ago. To that point, though, every lender has now added on overlays to kind of protect themselves so that they're hedging their bets against a loan going into default. So we'll refinance an investment property. However, they have to have a certain amount of liquidity in reserves in addition to the 2, 3, or 6 months reserves that are standard requirements. Now we're requiring up to 12 months reserves on top of that to make sure that if they that if their tenants don't make their payments, that the owner of the property is going to be able to continue to make their payments.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I think that, you know, one of the things that that I know that you guys are doing for the community and for your own employees, Freedom Mortgage just gave a raise to their employees to help them through these hard times right now.
Yeah, so Stan Middleton's our CEO. He's owned the company for over 25 years. He started the company from scratch. He's built the company up. We do $5 billion a month plus in mortgages. And, you know, he's liquid, thank God. And he keeps the company liquid by watching spending during the good times, not overspending during the good times. So right now he's been able to increase everybody's pay by 10%, which is incredible. We're all working remote. We're all working from home. You know, technology is amazing. I mean, look what we're doing right here. You know, I'm able to see into everybody's homes and see everybody on video. This is absolutely amazing. You know, 5 years ago, we would have never been able to do this. So thank God we have the capability of everybody being able to work from home. I myself, I've worked from home for 20 years, so I'm used to working from home.
So
I know a lot of people.
No adjustment there.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have had some trouble adapting. You know, the kids in the background, kids home getting schooled, but it's. Listen, I think we're going to see a huge, seismic shift in the way that people do business, and the way that people go to school, where people are going to be working more remote. Kids are going to be studying more at home and maybe only going to schools for their testing and for extracurricular activities, you know, or for their special, you know, like science lab or for art class and things like that. So I think we're going to really see a shift in our economy. For the better. We're going to come out of this. I'm an optimist. We're going to come out of this in a better, you know, we're going to suffer a little bit right now. We're ripping the Band-Aid off all at once. And then when we go back, we're going to be, you know, stronger, better than ever.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ronnie. I appreciate it. So now we're going to go to our beautiful Arelis, who works for Century 21 Global Connections Realty. Arelis, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with the market, and also what are you doing to accommodate clients and showings, and how has that whole process changed from about a month ago before COVID-19?
Sure. Hi, everybody. Thank you for attending today. My name is Arelis Catena. I have been a realtor for over 10 years, and I'm going to share my screen with you guys. But I have been a realtor for 10 years. I'm now working with Global Connections Realty, Century 21 Global Connections Realty. So yes, my part of the presentation is to talk about current trends and market data, buying and selling process during today's climate, and also just to inform a little bit the buyers and the sellers of what's happening during these times. One of the things is our first priority is safety. So when we try to do everything virtually, and you know, a lot of people are doing that right now. So but when that can't be done, we have to actually go and show properties or visit a client for a listing presentation. We will make sure that we do wear our mask, we keep our distance, social distance. We have our gloves and our hand sanitizers. Even when we do our closing, we had a closing yesterday, actually in Gio's office, and we did it outside. Everyone was there. We were able to participate in the closing for our client. Our lender was there, myself, and of course the buyers. And you know, they had accommodated us on an outside table, and it was a lot of fun. So business is still happening, and closings are still happening. So one of the things that I wanted to, with that said, I want to jump into what the market is doing right now. So we have, I got this from the Morning Star, and it says a 50% decline in pending home sales will normally lead to a drop in prices. But the lack of homes for sale is keeping prices relatively stable. So that means that we don't have a lot of inventory. So that actually have helped us keep the prices pretty much in line of how they were last month. So for example, the median listing price fell from $309,000 last week.
Are you sharing your screen, Arelis? Because I don't see it yet. We have not.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was.
It's okay.
Hold on.
Because I know that graph is very important for us to see it.
I know. I thought I did. Let me look back. Hold on. Sorry. Okay, so you see me? Oh, it helps when you press the share your screen button.
It's okay.
We're all learning.
We're all learning and getting used to this technology, right? Ronnie's actually going to give us a class after this on how he makes his webinars look totally amazing, because he does. He even has the little, like,
Well, let me,
Process. Hey, I think, Pauline, I think if you're hosting, you might have to be the one to share her screen.
oh yeah, I can't. Paulina, do you see it now or no?
no, give me 1 second. I'll have Dayasi pick her head in there. All right, well, in the meanwhile, we can just kind of
No, I have it. I'm sharing the screen, but it doesn't. So look.
say hi, Dayasi.
So we share my screen, right? And here's how we share.
Oh, we have a question, actually. I love you. Oh, Ramona. Thank you, Ramona.
No, because now, okay.
Now you're sharing.
Okay, so can you see it?
Now we can, yes.
Hold on. Wait, Dayasi, don't leave. Are you crazy? I have to do this. Okay. Oh, perfect.
All right.
Okay, so we talked about the safety. So now we're back to where, you know, prices are pretty much the same as they were in the last 7 days, ending on the week of April 10th. So, and to go deeper into that, there's the graph that Paulina said it was very important, and it is. We can see the, you know, you can see here in March 2019, there were 3,959 closed sales, right? Compared to March 2020,
She froze.
Hold on.
actually closed
We
more
lost you.
properties. I'm sorry, what, Pauline?
You got frozen for a little bit. Can you repeat that, please?
Okay. It says your internet connection is unstable. So I was just mentioning that in March of 2019, we closed 3,959 sales. Then,
And that's in the Tri-County area,
yeah,
from what
that's
I could tell. Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade.
Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County.
Awesome.
So in March of 2020, we closed 3,996. So that was actually an increase in closings in the month of March. And that's pretty much when everything started. So there's a lot of numbers here, but if you go down to where it says new pending sales, you can see that last year in March, and we're doing this for the month of March, right? So we can compare apples to apples. So March of last year, we had new pending sales of 5,310. This year in March, we had 3,808. So that was a decrease of 28%. New listings, however, last year in March, we had 6,036 new listings that came out of the market. And this year in March, we had 5,215. So although there is a decrease, it's not significant. So what we see is that, yes, there is, the market continues to operate. Granted, it's a little bit different how we do things right now, but there is buyers and sellers out there. And we do not have a lot of inventory. So for example, I was just talking to Paulina earlier, and it is true. I had a property, you know, when we first heard about what was happening, yes, there was panic and the initial fear set into people. And I had a property that sat on the market for about a month and a half or two. As soon as people thought that, yes, we're gonna probably go back to normal, I had multiple offers on that property. So, and that was last week. The closing that I did yesterday, we closed within 20 days. Geo was amazing, supreme titled, and the lender was great. And we were able to close within 25 days. That was in the middle of everything. And that property had multiple offers. I was speaking to the listing agent yesterday when we were doing the walkthrough, and he said he put that offer, that property on the market. He had 4 offers within 24 hours. And it was the, you know, it wasn't that it was underpriced or anything like that. So, so to me, if you're asking me, I do believe the time to buy or to sell is now, if it is, you know, if it suits you, if you need to sell your home or if you need to buy a home. What are we doing now for sellers, right? So like I said, the market continues to operate. We're just doing things a little different. So our virtual listing we're doing virtual listing presentations. We try to do everything virtually. So we will send so we will do the virtual listing presentation, whether it's through FaceTime or another platform like this one, Zoom, just to get your property on the market as soon as possible. Then after we do that, we'll definitely send a photographer, but to a professional photographer, not just only to take professional pictures, because we have always done that, but also nowadays we require to do virtual tours of your property, because a lot of buyers do not want to walk into a house. They don't want to see the homes. They want to see them from the comfort of their home. So, and a lot of sellers don't want people to be coming in and out of their houses. So the professional photography is not just for photos, but also to create a virtual tour of your house, as well as we also have a property website dedicated to that particular property, so the sellers can walk, you know, can look to that website and walk through the property themselves. We're doing virtual open houses. And if we have to go to and show your, and this is, you know, for sellers, if we have to show your property, we will make sure that we're there. We make sure that everybody's wearing their mask, their gloves, and, you know, just taking the necessary precautions during these times. But you can't stop because the market is continuing to go. This is a sample, a very quick sample of how a tour of your house will look like. I wish my house would look like that, but you know, this was a sample. So when we're send a professional photographer to your house, they're going to use a video platform to take video of your home for the sellers to be able, like I said before, to be able to walk into your home and do a tour of your house.
And we actually, in our office, we just ordered the camera to be able to actually do the virtual tours ourselves. So we could only do that, not only do that for the sellers, but also do that for the buyers if they're interested in any property. So they don't actually have to go see the properties themselves, but you could actually send them the virtual tour.
Yeah, and that was a part also on my next slide. This now is for the buyers, right? So if you are planning on buying, there's multiple ways that can be done. You'll be surprised how accommodating the sellers are right now. You know, I have shown properties where the sellers are at their home and we're going to see the house. They will leave the home and only one person at a time will come in. You'll see they'll have the hand sanitizers. They have new gloves by the front desk. So we still can do in-person showings, but when that is, you know, when we don't want to, you know, if you don't want to do that and you want to view properties from your house, I have shown properties using Facebook where I'm doing the tour of the house and I have the buyers on the other end and I walk them through the property. Or like Paulina was saying, we will do, you know, we'll send you a list of properties. So let's say that you want to see 4 or 5 of those properties. We have now the equipment in our office to go ahead and do a virtual tour like the one that I just, you know, that I just show you. And that, that gives you like a feel of being inside the house. So yeah, for basically that's what I have. If you have any questions, my number is 954-292-3366. I'm very optimistic about the market. Like Ronnie said, we were very strong before this happened. This is the bump on the road, and I think we'll go back to how we were before this all started.
So we do have a question for you, Arelis. Katie is asking, so basically for an investment property, are we looking at a median price of 300,000 to invest?
It depends. I do work with a lot of investors, and I seen investors that want to buy just to renovate, like to flip. I do a lot of those, which I love. And there's also a lot of people now that are seeing that the price have dropped a little. They feel like they can get a better property to as a rent income, so they can go ahead and rent after and sell in a couple of years, or 2-3 years from now. So the price depends. It could be, I have sold investment properties for 150,000 to 470 to a million. So it depends on what your needs are and what your budget is. But it have to make sense to you. Like, once you want to go ahead and let me stop sharing my screen.
I did. You're
perfect. Thank you. So once you figure out what the best way to do it is to go ahead and sit down with your real estate agent, talk to them, and figure out what your long-term plan is, so we can go ahead and put a plan together for you, what fits you and what you have, what your budget is.
So I know that you've done a lot of flips, and there's a couple of questions in regards to that. Can you give us an example? I know that you just finished doing one where how much did the client bought it for, how much did they have to invest it, and how much are they selling it for now?
Okay. So it's going to come up on the market. Well, there's two that I just did, but anyway, so let's talk about the last one. It will be on the market this week, actually. So that property was bought for $90,000. We put about, I believe it was 22 or 25,000 in renovations. And it's going to be listed for 185. So yes, there's a significant, and I believe we're listing it low, and I think it will go, we're getting a lot of traffic on that property just on social media that we're advertising it. So I think it will be sold, within the first week we put it on the market.
I think you have had it, we just advertised it on social media before putting it on the market, and we've already had about 30 to 50 people be interested in the property in 48 hours.
Yeah, and what I think it had helped a lot is that what I did is that I did a video of the property as soon as the contractor told us the property was ready. So did a video of the property, and everyone that's shown interest in it, I'll go ahead and I send them the link, the YouTube link of that property, so they can go ahead and see it. Because of that, we had probably about 10 people, asking more questions about it, not just, oh, let me send pictures of the property, but actually, how much is it, where is it at, how much is the association, so we know that there's interest in it. There was another one that I just did, and that one,
sorry, because that's a question about this property. So they're asking if that was a distressed property.
No. Oh yes, it was. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was an REO. Yeah, I remember.
It was an REO. But the one that I did before that just went into contract, that, like I said, it stayed on the market for about a month ago. And then when everybody realized that everything was fine, I had multiple offers that day. That one was not a distressed property. And that one, they bought it for $60,000, I believe it was. They put $15,000 into the repairs, and the offer that we have is for $103,000.
Awesome, perfect. Wait, we have a couple more questions, so give me one second. Oh, she said bingo. Okay. That one was not a distressed property, correct?
No, the one for 60. No, that was not.
So I know that Arelis spends about a couple of hours a day looking for properties for her clients, when because flip is it's its own little its own transaction. So she spends a couple of hours a day every day looking for the right property for the clients.
Well, there is another one that is not on the market yet. It's right on Miami Beach. I actually want to purchase that one. And so I actually mentioned
you've piqued my interest.
You said
Miami Beach? DM with the information on it.
Yeah, it's right on Miami Beach, right on front of the water of the ocean. That one is probably going to list for 300. And I believe this is the time to get it because they can show it, we can see it. So the person, that is probate, it's not actually in probate, it's a estate sale.
Yeah.
So they want to get rid of it quickly. And so I was just trying to get a feel for the assessment that was on that property. And I believe that I agree for them to pay it. And that's a property that if you get it, you probably will get it for 300,000. Depends on what type of repairs you want to put, but I'm assuming probably about 30. And the apartments in that building are going for between 475 to 500,000. So that's a great flip. And now you see why I want to get it.
Yeah. and it has a beautiful, it's like right on the beach. So somebody asked on Facebook, what is the average cost of a virtual tour? It really depends, and I'm going to go ahead and answer that question at least, because we have negotiated with the company to make sure that they not only do the virtual tour, but they actually do the drones and the pictures. So it's about between $300 and $400. But now we've already purchased the camera to be able to do it in-house. So the cost is significantly going to go significantly down. Thank you so much, Arelis. I don't think anybody has any more questions. However, if you are on Facebook and you are seeing us live and you do have questions, send me a text message. My cell phone number is 754-581-3452. I am trying to monitor it and look and make sure that I answer all the questions. And Ronnie, Giovanni, Kevin, Arelis, if you guys are, sharing or having a watch party and people are asking questions on your timeline, let me know, please. With that said, now we are here with Kevin from Max Home Inspections. Kevin, why don't you tell us a little bit about what has changed when it comes to the inspections? What is your company doing? And, how are we handling inspections nowadays?
Thank you, Paulina. And it's an honor to be on this panel with such distinguished guests. I trust everybody's healthy out there who's watching this. We keep increasing our participants. So, that's excellent. And who knows how many we have on Facebook. So thanks for setting this up, Paulina. Again, I'm Kevin with Max Home Inspections, and we're still working, guys. We are still working 7 days a week. We were built for this COVID-19. We were built for any type of, hiccup, shift, pivot. We're hearing all kinds of terms for this. So we're still out there getting your reports to you in 2 hours, I should say. 7 days a week, we are available. We can still get somebody out there next day. So our system, for those of you who've worked with us who are agents, for those of you who aren't, for sellers, we're available. We've been hearing about 2-week closing. So Arelis, that, was it 20, what did you say, 27 days?
No, we close within 25 days from
25 days. So it's happening now. And, we're available. We are COVID-19 certified by InterNACHI, which oversees the inspection industry. What does that mean? That means that we're taking all the precautions that we need to take as an inspection company. We're cleaning our equipment, cleaning our gear, cleaning ourselves, sanitizing everything. We are asking agents the buyer's agents, when we're doing an inspection on the BA side, make sure that the sellers have everything open. We don't want to have to worry about touching things. But if we do, we're trained, we're certified, as I said, to be able to clean those high touch areas. We clean everything before we get in. We clean everything before we leave. We are, even though, everybody's saying wear a mask and wear your gloves and it's keep the social distancing. And listen, I'm in the process of selling my house. I'm in Pennsylvania. So all of you people in Florida that are watching this, you guys are fortunate. You're still being able to do real estate transactions. We can't do anything here in Pennsylvania, but that's okay. I expect to be delayed 4 or 6 weeks. I'm going to sell my house eventually. I'm a little anxious to get back to normal. But with the COVID-19, we're offering the certification to make sure that agents keep their clients at home. I know a lot of agents are pushing back on that, but we really don't know what's up with this disease, and we want to make sure that everybody's healthy. We want to make sure the agents are healthy, the buyers are healthy, the sellers and our inspectors, because they're going back to their families, and it reminds me of that. Forgive me with pop culture because I'm not so hot with it, but the 7 or 9 layers to Kevin Bacon or whatever that was. I forgot what that was years ago. I guess I've aged myself.
Okay.
But there's layers and layers of people that our inspectors come in contact with and agents. So we are recommending that the buyers stay home, let the inspector do his job. We'll get you the report in 2 hours. But as I said, we are taking all the precautions as a COVID-19 certified company. And we've also offered some really good benefits for buyers because I think you showed the map. I understand last week there were 54,000 listings, I think, in the Tri-County area or so, something like that. So, we're offering free pest control with every home inspection at this point. We're offering a 1 year, we talked about a 1 year termite warranty. Normally it's usually 90 days. So we extended that to a year because a lot of people right now aren't focusing on termites and pests. And this is the season. And we are encouraging everybody, whether they work with us or not, because there's not a lot of inspection companies that are licensed to do termite and pest control. But we are recommending, whether people work with us or not, talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, talk to your clients. Just be aware that this is the season. The pests and termites aren't listening to any quarantine rules, right? So, we hate to have people stuck in their homes and and have their homes eaten away by bugs and termites. So again, we are taking all the precautions that we are supposed to take, being certified as a COVID-19 inspection company. But if your clients do require and do push to come to the home, and I get it. I get it. We can't do anything yet, but I'm ready to get people in my house, and we can do the virtual open house. But seeing it for yourselves is obviously something that we all prefer. If you do decide to go and you are adamant about going to the inspection, we are recommending that they take all the precautions and allow the inspector to go into the job and change floors. I mean, it's totally up to how the agent, how the seller, or the buyer, I should say, excuse me, wants to do something. But in order to alleviate all those issues, just let us get there. We've got Supra. We'll get in and out in 2.5 hours. Get your report in 2 hours, and talk to your clients as long as we want, as long as they need to, with our inspection coordinators. We'd be happy to talk with them 24/7. We're available. So if they have questions about anything about the report, we'd be happy to talk to them for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it takes, because we want to make sure everybody's calm and everybody gets to the table with Giovanni. So that's what we're working on right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I know I've seen your reports, and I know that they're completely very thorough. So, we do definitely recommend for the sellers to stay home and the buyers to stay home in their home as well, and that you'll get the report within 2 hours. So definitely that's the precautions that we're taking. And I think that's it. I don't think we have any questions for you, Kevin, but
Let me add one thing, Paulina. Just
Yes.
FYI, whether people work with us or not, we're going to do 15,000. Most likely, we're on our track to do 15,000 inspections. So we're experienced. We have $25,000 of warranty protection. But regardless of whether you work with us or not, what I like to tell people is, and we all tell people as a company, just make sure when you hire an inspector, make sure that they're licensed, make sure that they're professional, make sure that you can get them availability, make sure they have warranties, you guys. Because as we all know, an inspection is a snapshot in time. This is what it looks like today. We can't predict the future. Make sure that your inspectors, have those warranties to protect you. Maybe not the 5-year warranty on the roof like we have, but, mold and the sewers and, those types of warranties, appliances, that type of thing. But, again, it was great to be here. If anybody has any questions, you can get them to me and we'll be in touch with them. But you can reach us at 954-866-8694. And you can always reach out to me at Kevin, Kevin, at Max Home Inspections. We're here to help you guys, and we're here to help you and your agents and your clients, before, during, and after the inspection. And again, thank you for having us.
And Kevin, actually, one of the questions that I did have for you is my understanding is like you said, that the recommendation that we always have to everybody is that they do have to do an inspection. And what does an inspection cost around? We do have a couple people that are asking that.
That's a great question. Let me just, I'll be real quick because I want to make sure we have enough time for Gio. We do the general inspection. We do the 4-point inspection report you'll get in 2 hours. We do the wind mitigation report. We do the termite, as I said, because we are licensed. All the warranties that we offer, the 5-year roof warranty, the $10,000 on the structure foundation, I should say, and it's roughly between $400 and $500. It's based on square footage and year built. We recommend that people look around at other inspection companies and compare what you get from them with us. And we absolutely would price match because we want to earn people's business and have them experience and have them protected, and make sure that they have everything that they need so they can go into their home and be happy, and there are not going to be any issues. But again, I got to iterate, an inspection is a snapshot in time. So make sure that, you're looking at the right pricing and you're getting all 4 of those reports. We get you those reports in 2 hours. So that's really important.
It's very important to get an inspection, and from a realtor's point of view, we always recommend everybody to this is the biggest investment the investment that you're ever going to make in your life, and we definitely recommend people to go ahead and have the inspection. We had somebody when we went to do a walkthrough yesterday, and they didn't want to do an inspection. We had them sign a waiver, obviously, but then they're like, oh, the screen is broken now and it wasn't before. And so we had to explain to them, remember when we told you to get those inspections? Because if we had pictures of everything, then we would be able to go back and be like, listen, and have the seller pay for that. I had somebody ask me for you to please repeat your phone number.
Okay, no problem. 954-866-8694. And I'm going to leave with this, you guys. I'm in the process of selling my house. I can't do a pre-listing inspection, but I'm absolutely doing a pre-listing inspection because I want to know what's going on with the house. So I recommend it, obviously, for everybody, but buyers, sellers, really wicked important. We have over 400 points that we look at. And, I agree with you. Thank you for reiterating that, Paulina. Get your house inspected. It's worth a couple $100.
One more question. Is it worth doing an inspection before selling?
Absolutely. That's what we call the pre-listing inspection. The pre-listing inspection, especially for agents, but for any sellers out there, it gives you the opportunity to know exactly what's wrong with the home, even though we all think our homes are terrific, me included. But it gives you a clear understanding of what the issues are with the home. You can decide whether you want to fix them, do the credit. It actually adds, the pre-listing inspection can add to, as you talked about earlier before, bids and competitive bids and people, bidding against each other. So it's definitely very valuable. And again, make sure that you have an inspection company, that does give you those warranties, because things happen, after you close, things do happen. So the warranties are really important.
Thank you so much, Kevin. I really, really appreciate it. And now, of course, there's another question. Would there be a Spanish version of this webinar? Yes, on Thursday of this week, we're actually going to be having the Spanish version of this between 3 and 4 o'clock. With that said, last but not least, Gio from Supreme Title. Thank you so much for joining us. Gio actually is our in-house title company, and he is amazing. But, I do have a couple of questions for you, Gio. How are you handling closings?
Right now, truthfully, with us, it's kind of like business as usual. My staff is working here. We, with the records, once we get a deal, the title searches are just normalized everything. One issue we're having a little bit is with city lien searches. Some cities have their, the lien search departments closed. Some don't. Some have closed and opened up. Some are working less. So with some cities, it actually has taken a little longer to get them back. Actually, closing with one in your office, we had a code violation issue where the code department was closed. So that's been kind of the only issue where with cities, but it's only happened a couple of times so far. Estoppel letters, some associations, same thing, they're working less days. So maybe take a little longer, but other than that, it's kind of in business as usual. With regards to the closings themselves, we're just, the ones that we are closing in person, we're just trying to keep the buyers and sellers separate. Like I also mentioned, we're trying to close. We have a patio outside. We're closing outside. Trying to just be protected with gloves, masks, new pens every closing. Try to minimize the amount of people here. Just trying to keep everyone safe as possible. With the online notary, notarization with cash deals. We are doing those because that's allowed.
Can you explain that to me a little bit about how that goes? Because I know that we have a lot of viewers. And also, can you explain to us about the virtual closings that you had mentioned to us
Okay.
Monday?
So well, I'll just start from the beginning. Basically, with the online notarizations, last year the only way you can notarize something was you had to be in person with the person to notarize their documents. State of Florida created legislation last year which allowed for online notarization, which started January 1st. When that was inactive, especially like me, other title people thought that was going to be great because now you could just watch someone sign, notarize their documents, and you thought it was done, Well, then, when it started, we started finding there was a lot more to it. One, you kind of have to go through like a platform. There's something one is like called Pavaso. Another one is like Notary Cam, where basically what the people have to do is, well, first of all, they have to be U.S. citizens. They have to have a driver's license. They have to have like 5-year credit history. So what happens is when they go onto this platform, they have to kind of verify who they are, basically. Like they'll ask them questions from the credit report, like let's say the list 4 cars, which car did you have, or did you have, or something like that, or which address did you not live at, to make sure it's really them. They'll ask them a few questions. Now, the issue we're having though is, like I said, on cash deals, we do with the buyers, we're doing with the sellers. With lenders, we're having an issue because most lenders still they don't want electronic signatures, let's say on the mortgage, on the note. They want wet signatures. So of course, on the online notarization, you can't do that. Even though it's legal, a lot of lenders, like I said, the recording office will accept electronic signatures on mortgages, but a lot of lenders do not want that. Basically, on Friday, one of my underwriters, attorneys, title, Old Republic, they stated that they will allow us to now basically send the documents to let's say the buyer, the loan documents, have them verified through that platform, and then basically watch them sign the documents, like over the, video. Then they would then Federal Express the documents back to us, and at that point we would notarize them. And then this way the lender is actually getting documents with wet signatures, basically, with original signatures. So they are authorizing us to do that, but we still have to get lenders' approval. So this was announced Friday evening. It's only Tuesday, so I'm going to trying to slowly find. Like today, we have actually had one buyer who wanted to do that, and we asked their lender. We're still waiting for a response from them to see if they'll agree to let us do that way. So it's once again, it's still up to the different lenders whether or not they'll allow that. So we're hoping they do, because this way, it minimizes, because a lot of people right now are still scared to have contact with people. So it just, minimizes, keeps people apart and still gets the job done.
So we have a question here from Jackie Cavada. How the buyer will be handled, the issue of liens after closing. I think we need to handle, I know that there's a process, and I'm going to let you kind of go over it. I know that we have a couple of options, so if you can kind of work through those options so people can kind of understand the
goal is to give clear title to the buyer. I mean, we don't really want to close if we know there's liens. If there's something we don't know about and it turns up later on, that's what title insurance is for. So, let's say we close and later on it finds out there was a lien prior to our closing. That's what the title insurance is for. They would make a claim on their title insurance and they'd be protected. But if there is a lien that we know about, we do not close unless we get that resolved.
Right, but I know that there's also another option, which is like if the lien is, I don't know, $20,000, we could actually put those $20,000 from the seller in escrow and then get the buyer to close, and then we could deal with that.
I mean, with the parties' agreements, but only on cash deals. But we could do that, because if it's a loan, what happens is, when a lender is giving a loan, they want to be in first position. If there's, let's say, a code violation on the property, the code violation is in first position, so no lender is going to allow that. So if it's a cash deal and the buyer's fine, seller's fine, of course, we can close, hold money in escrow, have the parties maybe sign a hold harmless agreement. That's not a problem. But with a loan, we can't close, because no lender is going to let us close with a lien on the property.
I think that also one of the things that I want you to touch on that a little bit is, I know that because you actually helped us and you were our in-house title company, we've added an extra clause on the contract at the end of the contract where the seller is responsible for clearing code violations and open permits.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain to us why is it so important to add that at the end of the contract? in what, because my understanding is not incorporated inside the contract.
Yeah, well, with basically the standard, I guess you say FAR bar contract, open permits are the seller's responsibility.
The buyers.
No, sellers. With the FAR bar contract.
Yeah.
With the as-is contract, which what people primarily use now, for some reason they shifted it over. There's a paragraph in the contract where it actually says that it's the buyer's responsibility. That seller just has to cooperate and help them close them out. And it even says that seller has to spend no money to have them closed out. So it's completely on the buyer. So unless you add a provision to the contract, like say stating that, seller shall close out all open expired permits prior to closing at seller's expense, it's the buyer's responsibility. So let's say the past inspection period, title search comes back 2 weeks later, and there's 10 open permits. Buyers has to close them out. They can't cancel for that reason unless you write in the contract that's the seller's responsibility. And open permits do not affect title. It's not like a code violation. Code violations are actually recorded liens with the county. Open permits are more through the city. So there could be 10 open permits and we could still close. We could still give clear title to the buyer. But the issue is most buyers don't want to buy a property where there's issues, because an open permit could be something simple. It could be like, let's say, check the fire alarm. But it could be something major, like, we had one last year, I remember, it was something with a pool and had to go through two contractors to get it fixed. So like I said, as a buyer, so that definitely the best bet is as a buyer's agent, always add language that it's a seller's responsibility, and then you have nothing to worry about.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that.
I also have a question for Gio. Gio, can you talk about, I know that a lot of the people on the webinar are buyers or sellers. So can you talk about the COVID addendum that we now put on one?
Well, basically, okay, so with the COVID issue, there's a lot of buyers who are scared. They're scared of one proceeding because they don't know what's going to happen, And once a person's under contract and they're past the inspection period, past, let's say, the loan approval period, they really can't cancel. And there is a provision, something called force majeure in there, where it allows you to cancel, like if there's like a disaster or whatever, which kind of something like this, you could say. But it defines force majeure. One, it says act of God. So there's actually argument right now whether this COVID is an act of God or not, So the courts haven't ruled on it yet. So assuming it's not an act of God, it's not a reason to cancel the contract, okay? So what I did is I kind of made up an addendum where it specifically states that if basically you can't close because of COVID-19 issues, you're protected, So it's kind of just trying to make it more specific to protect the buyer. So because as I said, the way the contract's written, it would have to be considered an act of God, and there's some people who believe it is, some people believe it's not. So until there's actually a ruling on it, it could go either way. Right.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Gio. Can you give us your contact information? How does somebody contact you?
Gio Nicosia, my phone number is 954-726-5580. If you're on Facebook, join my group, Ask the Real Estate Attorney. Right now we're offering a special with all closings. We're sanitizing the realtors' commission checks. So
you also wire transfer them, so I don't have to touch them.
so send us your deals and you'll get a COVID-free check.
No, even better. You get toilet paper.
You get hand sanitizer. Yeah, we give Clorox wipes. So I think the most important thing, and why Arelis and myself did this seminar, and as well as Ronnie and Kevin and Giovanni, is that we just wanted to inform you guys about what changes have happened in the real estate industry. We also want to make sure that you understand and you have a team, because this is what we all are. We are a team where you guys are our number one priority. So we're never going to advise you against buying when it's not your time to buy. We're never going to advise you about selling when it's not your time to sell. And we have to look at each individual customer. Each individual customer, it's a different case. So we have to address them case by case basis, and then sit down with you guys, and we could do a Zoom webinar and just kind of go over what is the best thing for you to do at this moment. So I hope that you guys found this webinar informative. I'm gonna go around just because I know, Ronnie, can you just kind of like give us your contact information? How do they contact you?
Sure thing. You can text Ronnie, Ronnie, to 71441, and I'll get back in touch with you within a couple of minutes.
Awesome. And then thank you so much for being here. And we appreciate all the information that you gave us today. Arelis, can you tell us how somebody can contact you?
Sure. Arelis Catena, 954-292-3366. I'm your realtor that never sleeps, honestly.
I know she does not.
That's what all my
Like
clients
between
say.
her and I, we gotta have this like battle of who sleeps less. But anyway,
Who really goes to bed.
and Kevin, you already gave us your contact information, and the same thing with Gio. My name is Paulina Hurtado. I am the broker and CEO of Century 21 Global Connections Realty. If you need to reach us, our phone number is 954-284-3400, or my cell phone number is 754-581-3452. I don't know if we have any questions. Oh, Jackie, I guess this is for Gio. She's saying, how can the buyer handle the issue after closing when you cannot confirm the lien?
Oh boy.
You're muted. So hold on, let me unmute.
Unmute yourself.
Hold on.
I'm just moving my lips, just pretending. Sorry. No, so basically, if for some reason this city was closed and there's no way to verify it, well, first of all, a lot of cities actually are online, so we can look it up still, even though we can't actually get a report from them. We can still look it up online. It may not be 100% current, but we usually can look it up. We would make sure the buyer and seller are okay with closing that way. But basically, our underwriter would cover it if something did pop up. They are allowing us to close, so it would be covered.
Okay, so it is covered under title insurance. Okay.
Yeah. And we are
So
allowed
I mean,
to
I think that's very important for the buyers to know that you do have title insurance. So for whatever reason, if something was to pop up afterwards, you do have a title insurance that's definitely going to cover you for anything.
Yeah, just real quick, what title insurance does, it protects you for as long as you own the property. Like if something is, like when we do title searches, of course, our goal is not to close unless everything's perfect, but the people who do the searches are humans. They may miss something, the city may say there's nothing wrong, and then all of a sudden there's a big code violation or a big water bill. So it's covered as long as you own the property. And also another good thing about title insurance is, like, right now a lot of people are refinancing, like they get like what's called reissue credit. They save on their title insurance, on their costs. Like, one person asked me for a quote after I did the reissue credit. I inputted it. She got a quote from one person with the reissue credit. She was saving over $1,000 in her closing costs. So that's another thing that's important to know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again. Thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate all of you guys' time. And we're, this is live on Facebook. We also are going to be sharing the recording with everybody that attended. And let me just double check because the question, it's okay. So everybody's saying great job. So informative. Thanks everyone on the panel. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate, and I hope you guys found value on this. Have an amazing day. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks. Bye.